Welcome back to Dinar for Veterans. If you're holding Iraqi Dinar or Vietnamese Dong, you've probably felt it over the last few days. The conversations have intensified. The speculation has accelerated. Across forums, private groups, and social media feeds, one phrase keeps coming up: the next 48 hours. The question is not just what might happen, but why so many seasoned holders believe this short window even matters. Let's ground this immediately in something solid. Not every rumor is real. Not every chart movement signals a revaluation. And not every burst of online excitement reflects an official policy shift. But when attention builds across multiple communities at the same time, that tells us something important. It tells us pressure is building in the conversation. And in financial markets, pressure often precedes movement, even if that movement is not what people expect. Right now, Dinar and Dong holders are scanning for signals. Some are watching foreign exchange platforms for unusual pricing behavior. Others are monitoring central bank language, treasury statements, and banking system updates. A few are circulating screenshots of trading screens that may or may not represent live international data. The challenge, especially for retail investors, is separating verified developments from recycled hope. For our veteran community, discipline matters. You've lived through enough real-world operations to understand that noise and intelligence are not the same thing. In currency markets, it's no different. The loudest voice is rarely the most accurate one. So why this 48-hour focus? Because when speculation reaches a certain level, even small official confirmations or denials can trigger outsized reactions. Markets are psychological as much as they are mathematical. If enough participants believe something could happen, they position themselves accordingly. That positioning alone can create volatility, even without a formal announcement. For Iraqi dinar holders, the long-term thesis has always centered on reform. Iraq has spent years rebuilding infrastructure, modernizing its banking framework, strengthening digital payment systems, and attempting to align more closely with international financial standards. None of that guarantees a sudden currency event. Economic progress does not automatically equal instant revaluation. But structural reform is the foundation that serious investors watch. Recent discussions have focused on Iraq's continued integration into global banking networks, cross-border payment modernization, and efforts to stabilize monetary policy. Those are not flashy headlines. They are technical, gradual, and often quiet. But historically, meaningful currency adjustments follow preparation, not chaos. If Iraq is laying groundwork for greater international confidence, that matters. It may not produce fireworks in 48 hours, but it shapes the long-term trajectory. For veterans holding dinar, many of whom entered this space years ago, this isn't just about profit. It's about patience, conviction, and believing that national rebuilding can eventually translate into monetary strength. That emotional investment is real. When a surge of chatter hits the community, it touches not just financial hopes, but years of waiting. Vietnam presents a different but equally compelling narrative. The Vietnamese economy has become a manufacturing powerhouse. Global supply chains increasingly rely on Vietnamese production. Foreign direct investment continues to flow into industrial zones and export infrastructure. Trade agreements have expanded its reach into major markets. When a nation becomes more central to global commerce, its currency naturally attracts attention. Again, stronger trade does not automatically mean a sudden revaluation of the dong. Currency policy is influenced by competitiveness, export strategy, inflation control, and central bank priorities. Vietnam has historically managed its currency carefully to support exports. But as economic influence grows, so does international scrutiny. That's why dong holders are watching closely. Not because of a viral post, but because Vietnam's macroeconomic footprint is expanding. A major factor driving the urgency right now is the speed of online amplification. One post suggesting bank screens are changing can circle the globe in minutes. Claims of testing rates or hidden spikes get repeated so often they begin to sound factual. For disciplined investors, especially veterans accustomed to verifying intelligence before acting, this is where restraint becomes critical. Central banks do not operate according to social media timelines. When real policy changes occur, they come with documentation, legal frameworks, and public confirmation. Quiet preparation may happen behind the scenes, but official execution leaves a paper trail. If anything substantial were to occur, it would be reflected through recognized financial institutions and formal communication channels. That said, ignoring market mood entirely would also be a mistake. Sentiment can influence short-term behavior. If enough holders believe something is imminent, trading patterns can shift. Liquidity conditions can tighten. Conversations can affect perception, and perception, in financial systems, carries weight. This is why preparation matters more than prediction. If you are holding dinar or dong, make sure your records are organized. Understand the exchange procedures in your state. Know the compliance requirements, tax implications, and identification standards you would face in a legitimate exchange environment. Financial readiness is practical, not emotional. If nothing happens, you lose nothing by being prepared. If something does occur, preparation protects you from rushed decisions. Another important reality for our veteran audience is risk management. No one should be over-leveraged based on internet timelines. No one should borrow recklessly or assume a guaranteed outcome. Hope is powerful, but strategy is stronger. The internet rewards dramatic claims. Real life rewards discipline. There is also a broader global context to consider. Around the world, nations are modernizing payment systems, digitizing currency infrastructure, and strengthening domestic banking controls. Iraq's rebuilding efforts and Vietnam's export expansion are part of that larger shift. Currencies do not move in isolation. They reflect trade flows, political stability, monetary policy, and international confidence. Watching these two countries means watching evolving economic stories, not just price speculation. The next 48 hours may pass quietly. The buzz could fade as quickly as it rose. Or a small but meaningful confirmation could surface, clarifying the direction of reform or policy. What matters most is how you respond. Veterans understand that patience under pressure is a competitive advantage. When the crowd grows loud, calm observers often make the best decisions. Many holders speak about validation. They want to know that years of attention, research, and patience were not misplaced. That desire is human, but validation in financial markets rarely arrives as a dramatic movie moment. More often, it arrives through steady progress, documented reform, and gradual shifts in global perception. If there is a genuine development, it will stand up to scrutiny. It will be supported by official language, credible financial reporting, and institutional acknowledgement. Until then, your greatest assets are clarity and composure. So as we move through this highly anticipated window, stay alert but grounded. Monitor official central bank communications. Watch credible economic indicators. Ignore screenshots without sources and claims without documentation. Prepare wisely, think long-term, and protect your financial peace of mind. The reason so many IQD and VND holders are watching the next 48 hours isn't because of confirmed headlines. It's because expectation has reached a boiling point. The atmosphere feels active. The questions feel urgent, and when anticipation peaks, everyone looks for a signal. Whether that signal comes now or later, your advantage as a disciplined investor, and especially as a veteran, is the ability to remain steady while others react emotionally. If anything meaningful unfolds, we will analyze it carefully and responsibly. Until then, stay patient, stay informed, and remember that in currency markets, timing and truth always matter more than noise.